Good afternoon, everybody. This is Electrical Essence, and I'd like to thank everybody who does tune in and listen to me. I do appreciate it. And today I am going to discuss Libra season. And I have just recently just made a comment to the goddess Kama about not knowing how to feel about Libra season. And I have a lot of mixed feelings about about Libra. Some of them good, some of them bad. Um, Another thing that comes up with Libra season is, of course, the Libra Pluto generation and it getting ready to oh totally hand us our asses. I can already sense it now because it's pretty much already started just a few days ago before even coming into the sun in Libra. And then we've got Jupiter, good old fucking Jupiter, moving his fucking big ass into fucking Scorpio this week. And oh, that's my fifth house. That's going to be quite interesting. I just got done doing a solar return for next year, and I usually do, last year I did my solar return a couple months prior, which is always a good thing. So any of you that do you like your solar return every year or would like to get your solar return done, do it a couple months prior to your birthday because that's when that shit starts to kind of play itself out. Last year I did my solar return about 4 months before my birthday, and everything in it was pretty much spot the fuck on. I mean, it did not fucking hold back at all. And the biggest, scariest part about my solar return last year was that Mars and that 10th house placement, and about pretty much with car accidents and being fatal and bloody, and the whole year, well, most of the year, I can't say the whole year, but of this year, I had always thought it would be me that would be in a very fatal car accident because of that, and not realizing the aspects of Mercury, and then also not realizing, taking into account my birth chart along with my progress chart, um, that fatal accident would have been my brother. And I have Mercury in the eighth house, which is really not good for siblings, along with my sun in the eighth house, which is really not good for fathers. And I laugh. It's really not funny, but I laugh at everything. Um, so now I have the solar return for 2018, and I have a nice little, well, it's not little, actually, I should say this big old fat fucking conjunction in my fifth fucking house. It's like lovely, great. Now I got Jupiter and Scorpio, which I've actually been kind of excited about Jupiter going to Scorpio just because, Jupiter is Jupiter's a big old fucking slut, and Jupiter's a lot more sexual than people ever give it credit for. That's kind of like, you can think about ninth house with Sagittarius and Jupiter, and Sagittarius as being that freak of nature. Yeah, that's because of Jupiter. But anyways, so Jupiter going into Scorpio, that's something that I think a lot of Scorpios need right now, is definitely that big old blessing planet just coming in and conjuncting onto their sun. And and because right after Libra season, we've got Scorpio season, and Scorpio season's always been quite interesting for me. I've kind of noticed the last couple of years it's interesting. It's interesting in a good way. So I can't really say anything too negative about it. But just going back to the whole Libra season, it's gonna be intense. I can sense it now. And what makes it so intense is that I deal with a lot of fire and air signs, and Libra being a very unique air sign. And when I say unique, I mean it's not your typical air sign. It's not like Aquarius, and it's not like Gemini. And it's that whole first house and seventh house axis. That's that opposite of Aries. Anybody that is a Libra sun, your polar opposite is Aries. Anybody that has that Libra moon, especially Libra risings, you've got that whole shadow self is Aries, and just like Aries shadow self is Libra. So now we've got Libra here coming into the first house, and then we've got the shadow of Aries in the seventh house. And one thing with Libras, though, is they are very relationship orientated. They have to have other people in their lives. That's that one sign that does not operate well by themselves. And that's because it's the house of relationships, it's the house of partnerships, it's the house of contracts, business contracts, marriage contracts. Think about when Jupiter was in Libra. A lot of people actually got married when with Jupiter in Libra. Libra is that union. Libra, that it's that original ruler of seventh house. It's ruled by Venus. It's huge. And so Libra season, one thing that I really, really want to say about this and really want to put out there is you have to take into account now not only just your shadow side of Aries, your polar opposite, your where you pull a lot of that dark energy from, and good energy from too. You do pull some good energy from that, but you have to take into account your partners, your friendships, your relationships, like everything. That's Libra. That's all Libra is. They're they're so relationship orientated, and they are about themselves in a sense. That's that Aries pull, but they are more so about relationships and partnerships. And they are the number one most manipulative sign out of the three air signs. Okay, like they've got they've got Gemini and Aquarius fucking beat hands fucking down. But it's not necessarily always such a bad manipulation. A lot of times their manipulation is for good. Sometimes their manipulation is for selfish reasons. Sometimes manipulation is to basically, work on other manipulation things that they've been working on. But usually it's, Libras they're not bad. They're not bad people. They understand relationships and people and everything a little bit different than most. And the sun is debilitated in Libra. The sun fucking hates being in fucking Libra. That poor sun, and the reason why the sun hates it is, well, because the sun has to shine its light on everybody but itself. So you think about Leo's ruler is the sun, and Leo, that's all like me and myself and everything, like shine right here, it's that campfire that everybody's just all around and just enjoying, and the fire just is just eating up all that energy and that oxygen that's just coming from out of everybody. And then you've got the world's sun, going to that seventh house, and it's just like, fuck, it's like, okay, and it does what it's supposed to do, but I don't know. Libra season this year is going to be, I think this is going to be a very interesting one, definitely for me. I'm trying not to look too far ahead into it. I'm kind of like trying to do a go with the flow, because it seems like if I do more of a go with the flow, I have, it's kind of nice because then I can step back and kind of look at everything that's going on instead of being involved in everything that's going on. And it's, oh God, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I am a Pluto Libra generation in the later degrees, but I've never ever have ever really been that Libra Pluto generational type of person. I've been more Scorpio. I've been more Scorpio for a very long time when it comes to the whole, I guess, the whole perspective and correlation, the concepts and everything with that whole Pluto generation. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why a lot of people think that Pluto and Libra generation is, how do I put this? They think that they are relationship oriented, like all of them are relationship orientated. Yes, in a sense, we are relationship orientated, but a lot of us, especially like the later degrees, I know this, just from looking at charts and just people I know that are those later degrees of Pluto and Libra, we look at relationships and we look at partnerships just a little bit more under the surface than what Libra would. We take it a little bit more seriously than what Libra would. And when we take it seriously, it's not as in serious like most people would think serious. We take it serious as in when we make relationships and partnerships and bonds and everything, it's like that scorpionic, deep bonding. And some of us, not all of us, but some of us that do seem to coincide with the Scorpio generation, we didn't want to be tied down in just that one relationship. We didn't want to have ownership or to be owned in that one relationship. I mean, everybody wants to be in a relationship. Everybody wants, some type of bond with that one other person, but like with Scorpio though, it's much deeper than what anybody knows. And for each individual, like it varies. But I know for me, like I love relationships, I love partnerships, I love being able to have that deep bond. I have my son in the eighth house, so of course, I'm always looking for something deeper with people. And the only thing though is, which helps with being an Aquarius, is I can bond with somebody and have that relationship with somebody, but not be too attached to it. Now, some relationships, yes, I'll admit there is an attachment, but those are very special type relationships for me. But also too, with even when I do form attachments, I always have to remind myself, that there is no ownership, there is no entitlement. Like people are free to be free within themselves, and that even though I do have an attachment to people, does not necessarily mean they're mine. And that's like and Scorpios, we all know that Scorpio, once they've made claim on something, it's theirs. But again, not all Scorpios are like that either. um there's a really cool correlation with Scorpios and Aquarius in that eighth house and the 11th house. It's something I'll have to explain sometime soon. But um Scorpio generation, that Libra generation with Pluto, that it's two similar but yet different energies. And these two signs are both known for having major issues in sexual addictions, and they can both be very codependent, but to where Scorpio can be a lot more independent. They're both master manipulating houses and master manipulating signs, and both houses deal with other people. Now, seventh house is other people, as in everybody besides yourself, business partners, um, marriage, co-workers. I mean, just other people, the house of other people. And the eighth house deals with other people's money and laws, um, unfortunate events. So, and a lot of times those unfortunate events, is other people. They can both be very dark houses, and they can both be very good houses, bright houses. It's just, because seventh is connected to the eighth, the marriage house is connected to the eighth. As in sex and taxes and rebirth and just birth and dying, and it's a death house. And so there is a lot of strong similarities, but they're a little bit different. And the one thing about Libra, that Pluto, Libra generation, and the Scorpio generation, is the Libra generation was really gung-ho on the whole family and picket fence. I think a lot of it has to do with, these were the latchkey kids. These were the kids whose parents went through the divorce and they had to live with their single mom, or their most of the time single mom over dad, and they had to stay home and take care of themselves. 8, 9, 10 years old. Well, the parent worked, and it was latch the key, lock the door up, and don't answer for anybody. No, nowadays, you try to do that shit, tell your kid to close up doors and don't answer it. Shit, the motherfucker won't even have the knuckles out, and that kid will have that fucking door flying open so goddamn fast, looking at it like a fucking dumbass. It's the Pluto generation people, all of us. We not only destroyed ourselves and other people in relationships, we had to learn everything the fucking hard way. And with that generation having to deal with such a huge change, that from the 50s and the 60s, and then that 70s was kind of like that buffer fun area, and then into the 80s, and to where it was like corporate world and working, and people were starting to realize that they didn't have to fall into the norms of society, and they didn't have to be married, or they didn't have to do this, they didn't have to have kids, and and sexuality was changing anyways, with the whole rise of the gays coming out, and which got kickstarted off from AIDS. And it's that generation. Oh God, that poor generation. We went through some shit. Yeah, we went through some shit. And then there was a percentage of us, where we just kind of stepped back, and we just had to watch from the sidelines. And I think that has a lot to do why I was not one to jump into relationships. I was not the one to had to be attached to some fucking dude or have some dude up my fucking ass, especially in my teens and early to mid 20s, it was just I really wanted to not only just get to know somebody, but I wanted to get to know myself. I wanted to spend time with myself. I was very disgusted by the relationships around me and friends and strangers, just all of it, and then I did not want to have to deal with that. I did not want to have to deal with that ugliness. I didn't want to have to deal with the manipulating and the games and the stalking and the cheating and the just, I mean, shit, what was it, the late 90s at the rise of the HPV, where the cancer causing cell deformities for the, for the uterus and all that for women, cervical cancer and all that, where men were the carriers and women, and it wasn't even women, it was young girls. It was like, it just seemed like that Libra Pluto generation just, I mean, shit, half of them shouldn't even wear fucking pants or panties. They should have just walked around just like that. Because, I mean, that's all it was, trying to find themselves then in partnerships, trying to find themselves in sex, trying to find themselves in that codependency, and the Scorpio Pluto generation was a lot more mindful, and they were already born into their whole essence of their sexuality. So it wasn't even about finding somebody to explore that or have that. It was about somebody on a much deeper level, and the codependency was not so much out of companionship. It was out of that bond that didn't want to break away from. And so those two generations, they way different than Capricorn one. It's gonna be different, Aquarius, all of it, all the other ones, those two right there, because that was 7 today. That was over half the houses. Got 12 houses, split them in half. There's a sixth, and after Virgo, and we just started coming into a little bit more complicated area of the 12 houses. And I say complicated because it's total different energy than the first six. So, and it's complicated as in it's not just about yourself. It's, there's other factors. There's humanity, there's society, there's work, there's assisting people and trying to be humanitarian or trying to do it through a corporate sense or through a business sense. That's our eighth house, with the Scorpio and then Capricorn business, because the eighth house is the house of psychology and and the dying and the crying and the lonesomeness of the soul. That's where all the dirty little secrets get dumped into that pit of the eighth house. And then you got 11th house, which is the collective and networking, and then you have 12th house, which is escapism from all of it. Just run underneath the bed and just get your beer, get your wine, get your joint, turn the lights out, play some whatever fucking sappy retard crying ass fucking music that Pisces or whoever would like to listen to, and just hide out in your bed in that other world. Because in that other house too, that 12th house is that right before you just have to let it go. That's letting go as in letting go of life, letting all this shit go, letting it all go. And so it should be interesting when Pluto moves into that final placement of Pisces, and you just have to let it all go. And Libra season shall be an interesting one because we need Libra. We sometimes people need, and don't really, I can't really, no, I can't say people really need it, but people sometimes want it to be taken out of control, puppeteered, strings. It's such a lazy way to live, and Libra's just like, all right, dumbasses, here we go, and they do their thing and can't even be mad at them, because where somebody can see weakness and they go in there and they provide their own strength in it, power it through into that weakness and pick up some slack, can't be mad at that. So I just want to touch a little bit on Libra season and Pluto and Libra, and talk about Scorpio, and love talking about Scorpio, little sexy sign. All right, this is Electrical Essence, everybody, and I do want to thank you for tuning in and joining me. And should have some exciting ones coming up here shortly. You know, I've been tag teaming up with others, so I'm excited. I'm always excited. All right, you guys have a good evening, and be careful of Pluto, and dodge all the Libras you see.